Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to figure out how to mask a grid. So maybe you're having problems with your RTP images, you're getting stripes on them, and it's because the edges of your grid aren't straight. So when you do the Fourier transform, it's causing problems. So we want to take an actual database and we want to get a subset of the database, so just a small part of it, and then we want to grid that up and just check that it worked. We don't want to window grid and just take a smaller part of the grid itself, because that's already got problems. So we actually want to go back to the original database and fix that up. And so let's just clear my screen here. And so you can see here on the left hand side I've got the original grid, and on the right I've taken the RTP of the grid, and when I zoom in this lower left hand corner you can see the striping, and so something's gone wrong with the RTP. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to open up here. This is my original database that I've got, and I'm just going to zoom down here. I'll drag that down. And so the column that I'm working with, or the channel, is called NT Edit Base. And I want to take a subset of that in a small area of the grid. So how I do that, first thing to do is to create a copy of this database. Always work with a copy, because you don't want to mess up your original database. So you can see here in my bottom left hand corner under Project Explorer, I've already got a copy, but let's start from scratch. So I'm going to say delete, and it's going to delete all the files. And it's just taking a bit of time. Okay, you can see it's gone. So how do I create a copy? You go Database Tools, Channel Tools. No, wait, I'm in the wrong place. Where am I looking? Copy line. Somewhere here you can create a copy. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm in the wrong place. I'm actually going to physically go back to the folder where I've got that database saved, and I'm going to create a copy there. So I've saved it under Geosoft, and the person's name, under data. So you can see here's my .gdb file, which is the database. So I'm literally going to go copy paste, and it's created the copy over here. Now I've got to go back into Geosoft, right click on databases in the bottom left hand corner under Project Explorer, go add database, navigate to it, and you can see here I found it. I click open, and it opens up the copy. So try work with the copy, because then at least you can go back if something goes wrong. So here's my heading, my inedit base. That's what I want to create my grid out of. And so I want to mask some of these data. So first thing I do is I've got to actually define the mask polynomial. And so I'm literally going to create a rectangle that shows where in the data I want to look, and I want to take data from. So taking data from the original database, not from the grid. So what I do is I go Database Tools, Window Data, create rectangular PLY file. The PLY file is the masking file. Click on it. You can see I've done this before. So click on your three dots, go wherever you want to save it. I'm going to save it as something new, so I'm just putting mask 4 on the end. I would advise probably giving it a better name than this, so you can actually figure out what things are later. So inclusive or exclusive, make sure you click on inclusive, and then you're going to click on the bottom here on interactive, and now it says to define a map rectangle using the mouse cursor. So literally I'm going to drag a rectangle, and I want to try and look in this bottom left hand corner here, because I'm convinced that these stripes are due to irregularities on the line, because I'm not sure if you can see, but at the top here some of the lines go longer, some go shorter, and I've also got gaps within the line that there just seems to be something with the interpolation that's not going well, and then I take the RTP and it just looks terrible. So I want to look at a small rectangle down here where I've got striping, and I want to regrid now on the subset data and see if it still does the striping. So it's down here. Oh, it didn't work very well. Okay, click interactive. My problem there was that I was trying to drag the rectangle on this left-hand grid, but you can see it's this right-hand grid that's selected. So I'm actually going to go here, and I'm going to drag, and I want to go in an area where there are no gaps in the data, and also I want to make sure that the bottom of my rectangle is within where my data points are, and it's over the striping so that I can compare my new grid. So I've drawn my rectangle. I'm going to click on new file, so it creates a new file. Now I'm going to just select my database again, this copy database. You can see it's down here. I'm going to go database tools, window data. So I've created a mask file, but now I actually have to apply that mask to the data. So I'm going to say mask channel to polynomial. So literally going to take a channel, I'm going to blank out all the points within it that don't fall inside the polynomial. So I click on mask polynomial. Input channel are X and Y. The polynomial file, I'm going to choose the one I just created, mask 4. Channel to mask. So it actually wants to know what channel to like dummy out some of the numbers. So like I said, it's this in-edit base that I'm working with, and it wants to dummy outside. So I want to keep the values inside the rectangle, and I want to make the ones outside into stars. So I click OK, and let's see what happens. Okay, you can see a lot of it is turned into stars. Hopefully not all of it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grid this channel and see what is left of it. So I go grid and image, gridding, minimum curvature, in edit base. And now just save it as something that you're going to actually know what it is. So I'm going to have in edit base masked. That's what I'm going to call it. Save. And for now I'm just going to leave default grid cell size. Okay, and you can see default has left gaps between the lines. I'm still seeing highs and lows along here, so I'll have to investigate further about that. Let's just regrid it again. I'm going to use a grid cell spacing of 10. It just depends on what you did in your original survey. You can see this is actually quite low resolution. Let's do it one more time with 5 and see what it looks like. Oh. Computer's just a bit slow. Okay. I'm going to just plot the data points on top of it. So I'm going to go map, tools, symbols, location plot, and it will literally plot in edit base on top of it. I'm going to do it one more time. I just want to make my points a little bit bigger. It's probably going to be too big at once, so let's do 0.5. Okay. So you can see there's definitely problems here, overlaps in the data that needs to be removed, but I was just doing a quick and dirty thing here. So now I'm going to take the RTP and I just want to see if there is that striping. So what I mean by striping, let's move this over here so you can compare with this other image. So this is the masked TMI grid. I'm going to put it on top, and I want to compare it to our previous RTP. So I want this RTP to zoom into the same extent as my new masked file. So how I do this is I click on the masked file, I click on this middle brown box that says change extents on all maps, so that other maps will have the same extents as my masked grid. Okay, and you can see here it's this horizontal striping, and to a lesser extent up here. No, that's still pretty bad up there. Okay, so let's do it one more time just so that I can get it there. So I want to see if I now take the RTP of this left-hand grid, do I land up with the same problem? So how I'm going to do this is mag map filter. So I want to choose this masked file. Got so many files here, I just find it easier to click on the date and get to the newest one at top. So that's that one. And now I'm going to put give a new name for the file created. So I'm going to go masked RTP. So this is the input file, this is the output file. And make sure you have a .con file here. Often it can be blank. You can actually just create a blank text file and change the extension to .con and do filter. And then go down here, we are going to take the reduced to magnetic pole. We are looking at Namibia, so very approximately those are inclination and declination. Click OK, click OK. And okay, let's see if it looks any better. Over here. Okay, I'm actually on this right hand one. I'm going to click on this button here that says Auto Recolor Grid. And so what this does, okay, when it's off, it's taking the whole grid and it's pinks are the highs and blues are the lows. But what it does when you zoom in and you click on Auto Recolor Grid is it ignores the rest of the grid, so and then just focuses on this area and makes just in this area the very high values pink and the very low values blue. So there's probably other areas on the map that have even lower magnetic values than this region here, but it's just focusing on the area we can see. And so let's click here on our left and it shows you where it is on the right. There's still some problems, but it definitely looks better. I mean, it's this stripe here doesn't look as big a problem. And we're using the same, are we using the same gridding values? That's a good thing to check. I think actually on the right here we've got a grid cell size of 16 and here we said 10. So I mean we can also just double check this. Oh, here, yeah, we did 5. Let's try 16. So this was for that original grid, so I'm just going to have to redo the RTP. Let's do that. So ignore that down there. I'm going to retake the RTP. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Just check that the filters can chosen, reduce to pole, minus 65, minus 20. Okay. And it should replace this grid here on the screen. Okay. And I mean, it's poor resolution, but you're definitely not seeing these stripes that you would expect, that you came to expect from your original image. So it's definitely something to do with the gaps in the data and also the edges of the data set, the fact that the lines don't meet up, that's causing problems with the gridding algorithm. So yeah, that's how you can actually mask a data set and just get a subset of the data, but more specifically it's a subset of the data in the database, not windowing a grid. You're actually reducing the original database. So you can see this is my original grid that I started with, and some of the lines stop and some extend. That seems to be this that's causing problems. Also these gaps seem to be causing problems. It's the interpolation and then taking the reduce to pole, the fast Fourier transform seems to be causing trouble. Then your question, yeah, I can honestly tell you, I try to crop out a larger area, so to get rid of these edges where they don't line up, but still with the gaps in the middle, and it's still caused these striping problems. So that's something more that we're going to have to work on, but that's some way to start for now.